I believe that they're in a great situation in goal. Just a great situation in goal.
You know Ian Furness from his 12 to 3 midday show on KJRFM Sports Radio. If Joey Decord was a stock, I'd be buying.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
But if Philip Grubauer was an investment brochure, I'd say I would think it would read past performance is an indication of future results. But you're a little more bullish on Gruby than maybe I am.
I see Philip Grubauer when healthy and when on is really good. We've seen glimpses of that. In fact, if I just want to look at the sample size with Grubauer, it's just playoffs 2 years ago. He was unreal.
Well, I'm not going to rag on Grubauer. I mean,
Right.
He was a former Vezina finalist, but I don't think that he makes the saves he's not supposed to make. The goals above expected saves, the way an athletic guy like Decord can, who seemed to really bail out the Kraken. Grubauer seems very positionally sound, but he's not going to wow you. Am I off base about that?
I think there's something to that. I mean, if you're just looking at pure athleticism, there's probably no doubt Joey's better, is more athletic, younger. His ability to play the puck is phenomenal, and that changes everything too, right? Because you now all of a sudden you have a third. I like. Here's why I like it, and we did a feature. It'll be on one of the preseason games. Allison and I did just a quick little hit on this, and she brought up, and it's so true. When you're looking at Seattle, you have to prepare for two different scenarios depending on who's in goal. Grubauer is in. If Grubauer is in, and you're like a dump and chase team, and you want to do that, you want to play the hacksaw. Okay, that's one thing. If it's Joey, well, it ain't going to be that easy because you got a third defenseman back there. So they're just very different. What I like about them is they're very different. I think Grubauer is a guy that still has a lot left and can carry. Phil Grubauer is probably in the same boat in some ways as like a Brandon Tanev in this regard. The contract jumps out at you. If you're a big hockey fan and you look at those things in a hard salary cap league, you go, man, are we getting our money's worth for what that contract is? And the answer is probably no for both those guys. But if you take the contract away and just say, what are they giving us? Well, Tanev gives you energy, kills penalties, whatever he wants, you go there. And then with Grubauer, it's like, boy, be a number one on a lot of teams. Maybe not at that price, but number one on a lot of teams. And I think we have that in all sports. Like any sport that has a salary cap, you have that. Like we have that in the NFL. Like, oh, he's not worth that money. Is he a good player? Yeah, but he's not worth that money. But take the money aside. Is he? Yeah. So you have that balancing act going on there, I think, too. I believe that they're in a great situation in goal. Just a great situation in goal. Our friends up north, ask them what it's like not to have a goaltender. Like it's no fun. You could have a Stanley Cup contending team, and if you don't have a goalie, it doesn't matter. If you have
maybe the Canucks beat the Oilers if Demko is healthy.
Right? I mean, that's and here's the other thing. Maybe the Oilers don't even go 7 with Florida, and they win it in 6 if they, Skinner would have been more consistent. I mean, Calvin Pickard, who I love, former T-Bird, I love him. I love Picks. Like, I'm not sure if he's a guy that you want to carry in the mail in the Stanley Cup playoffs, yet he was in there for 2 or 3 games, won a game for him.
Yeah.
Like, Phil Grubauer's on the roster last year, Joey Decord. I think Connor McDavid's legacy is cemented at that point, right? So I love those guys. I think they have a great situation to go. And so you ask, like all these rankings preseason, whatever, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even look at that. I don't look at it for any sport. But outside of college, at football and basketball, because it does matter in those sports. It does matter in those sports. It's subjective sports. It doesn't matter in these sports. But they're not looking at who's in goal, and they're not looking at who's on the back end. The Kraken are very Mariner-like, and that's in this sense. They prevent runs/goals. Hard to score against these teams, right? Really hard. Now, why would the Mariners not win a World Series or even get to the playoffs? Because they can't score, and that would be the same thing with the Kraken. I think Bilesman and his system will change that dramatically this year.
Kraken, even with all their troubles, were number 8 goals against in the entire league last season. At the end of every Ian Furness radio show on KJR, no less a Seattle media icon than Pat O'Day calls Ian Furness mildly objectionable. But the Kraken obviously saw something in you. So when are you making your debut on the Kraken Hockey Network?
Well, the next few preseason games, we're doing some. Alice and I are just doing some little hits in between periods. Actually, on the desk, I believe our first time doing that will be the final preseason game. We'll have a full show. We scale it back. Radio's the same way. If you listen to the Kraken Audio Network, Mike Benton's not doing his normal 30-minute pre and 45-minute post game. Preseason's kind of get in and out. So we'll do the final preseason game. I think we're going to do the full meal deal, and then first regular season games national, the matinee that everyone's excited about, and then, and then
on a Tuesday at 1:30.
I know, hey, nobody works apparently, but hey, come on out, skip work, call in sick, and but that's a national game, and then I think the second game of the year is our first real broadcast.